Welcome to the Healthy Body, Healthy Mind podcast. I'm your host, Bryan Kinghorn, co-founder and CEO of HBHM. We're a carbon neutral wellness brand and we're focused on the well-being of our customers and the planet. We produce a range of products designed to support a healthy lifestyle. This podcast is for our community. We will have a range of experts in the health, fitness and wellness space designed to help you all improve many aspects of your life. For listening to this podcast, you can get 15% off our products at hbhm.com by using the code HBHMPOD at checkout. Thanks for listening. Welcome to the latest episode of the Healthy Body, Healthy Mind podcast. Good to have you all along. And we have a guest co-host with us today. Coming back, we have Sara Davidson with us. Hello, Sara. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Do you want to just remind everyone who you are?
Yes, of course. So for those who don't know me, I'm Sara Davidson. I'm the head of brand here at HBHM. So I oversee all the branding, the marketing, social media, and some NPD as well.
Perfect. Great to have you here. And how excited are you about today's guest, Sara?
I'm so excited. We actually have Melissa Peralta of Third Eye Tribe on today's podcast episode. I've known Melissa probably for 10 years maybe. So we're super excited to have her here with us today. If you haven't seen already, we actually have a 7-week series of some of Melissa's amazing wellness videos over on our Instagram and also our YouTube. So if you haven't checked them out already, please go and do that.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So on to our guest today. So we have Melissa Peralta, who is the founder and spiritual guide at Third Eye, which is a lifestyle brand and community for the modern soul seeker, whose focus is on creating sacred space for conscious living, providing authentic moments of connection with self and with others. Through this platform, Melissa facilitates various healing and self-explorative modalities. Her offerings range from Vinyasa and Restorative Yoga, meditation, breathwork, Cacao Ceremony, Embodied Movement and Moon Circles, alongside an online store selling ceremonial cacao and various other tools to support your spiritual practice. She's also the creatrix of newly launched ceremonial cacao brand Sakbe and offers 2 online courses for individuals and couples looking to learn about the benefits of regularly working cacao as a tool for self-growth, healing and deeper intimacy, as well as learning the art of daily ritual. From creating deeper self-awareness to cultivating a reciprocal relationship with the earth, Melissa's mission is to guide people to gently peel back the layers around their hearts so that they're able to lead with love, solidarity, compassion, and highest truth for benefit of their own well-being, the collectives, and the planet. Wow, that's quite a bio we have there for you, Melissa. So it's great to have you on today. How are you doing, Melissa?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction and the warm welcome from you both, Bryan and Sara.
Yeah, good to have you on. Thanks very much for coming on today. We're looking forward to getting into a deeper chat with you. So let's just start with this first, Melissa. So can you just explain a bit more to us about what Third Eye Tribe is?
Yeah, so Third Eye was founded in 2018. Initially, I set up Third Eye to share yoga and meditation. So I was doing this in both a corporate setting, providing yoga and meditation for companies either for their employees during either lunch breaks or at the end of the day. So companies were really focused on the well-being of their staff and understanding the importance of that and how it can actually be a huge benefit to the company, and also public classes. It then kind of developed into holding space for moon circles and cacao ceremony. And then last year, of course, I moved everything online. So I try not to kind of label things too much. You know, that's why I kind of say it's this lifestyle brand and community. It's got this aspect of, yes, I hold space for various classes and events, but people regularly come into these spaces and meet the same people, or in these virtual spaces for now, and this sense of community starts to kind of develop and come through, and through interaction, through of course social media, and connection's always important, right? For us as human beings, it's like such a important aspect of our well-being that's been kind of stripped away from us in the past years. So creating community has been something that's been more important for me to focus on over the past year, for giving people a place where they feel safe to come to, where they can show up as their most authentic self. So no masks, no filters, no, being able to cry, being able to answer the question, how are you? And to be honest about it, and to know that it is welcome, and that it's accepted.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I think that is so important as well. Like, I think there's so many, like, there's so few places that you can do that. I think some people aren't being completely honest, especially in this time that we're living in. I think, it's really nice that people can actually open up and say how they are really feeling, and you've created a space that people feel comfortable enough to do that, which I think is really, really amazing.
Yeah, and the sense of belonging and the community angle of it is incredibly important. I think now more than ever, people have identified that they do need something to be part of. So the community that you've built, I think, means a lot to the people that are involved in it, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned two things there. You mentioned Cacao Ceremony, and you mentioned Moon Circle. So do you just want to explain a wee bit more about what they are for our listeners?
Yeah, for sure. So, okay, I'll start with the Moon Circles, because I feel like I'll go on a journey with the cacao stuff. That'll go on for a while. But yeah, so the Moon Circles, I gather everyone together on a new moon. I mean, you can obviously, of course, gather people on a full moon as well. I do a slightly different event for the full moon that involves cacao and embodied movement. But the Moon Circle is space that I hold on a new moon for people to gather who want to learn about the cycles of the moon and how they can work with them. So most people will know that there's 8 different phases of the moon cycle, right? Most people will notice when there's a full moon in the sky. And I think what people forget is that, our ancestors used the lunar cycles for planning many things, when they would plant food in the ground, when they would harvest, when they would do ritual, when they would do ceremony. So the reason why I started working with the lunar cycles is almost as a way of like a natural timekeeper. So you use the new moon to bring in something new into your life. So you set an intention, a focus, a goal, right? And then each day during that cycle, you're waking up each day, you're remembering what your intention is, your why, and you're using that to really help to guide you towards what it is you're wanting to create in your life. And then on a full moon, you'll kind of assess how things are going. You'll maybe edit, because you'll be like, oh, maybe this isn't for me right now, or I need to change this thing. I'm going to release this thing in my life that isn't serving me. So it's a way of kind of bringing in the new, getting rid of the old, being very aware of your inner landscape. So the moon is definitely, the energy of the moon is all to do with our subconscious realms. So it takes you into yourself. It's no secret that especially a full moon really affects us as humans. Even like the emergency rooms will say that they have more people coming in on a full moon. The police will say how much more busy they are on a full moon. And it changes our behavior as humans, and animals' behavior changes. The tides are affected by the moon. So it's about learning how we can actually harness this energy to get what we want out of life, and to feel to come more into balance, and to kind of understand our own relationship with the different cycles, because we are cyclical beings. And, you know, internally we have our own cycles as well, as women especially, but you know, we've got the cycles of nature, we've got, everything's a cycle. So I think kind of connecting to this idea of cycles actually pulls you deeper into yourself, because as humans, we are part of nature. So that's kind of the idea, is helping people connect with the idea of as above, so below.
Awesome.
So during these circles, I'll give some insights on what the particular energy is around that particular moon, because the moon aligns with various astrological signs. So that gives a different kind of theme. And whether you kind of believe in astrology or not, each different signs, there's 12 astrological signs, each one, it gives us guidance that's very useful in life. So whether you believe the energy is there or not, if you're being told, okay, this is a good time to focus on your home life or your relationships, like this stuff's not gonna, it's gonna serve you no matter what. It's just, I think if you get kind of pulled into like, oh, this is how I'm gonna feel because this is what somebody's writing, then, you know, that's when you know, you can get a little bit lost. You need to be using your kind of discernment. And yeah, it's just, I think, a really great way of feeling more empowered and aligned with your life. And we do some meditation, journaling around those themes associated with that moon. So yeah, it's a really beautiful space.
Nice.
And yeah, it just keeps building. We've got this kind of lunar community that's just growing bigger and bigger. I do these ritual kits that people can use during the ceremony. So I think people really like having something tangible. People love burning things. So yeah, it's really great.
Nice.
It's really fun.
I think there's a lot to pick out of that there, but one thing that I know Sara talks about and spoke about in the past is the intention setting side of it. So that's important to you in your life as well, Sara, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You mean like setting yourself like little rituals and things?
Yeah, and journaling, intention setting.
Definitely. I always I love journaling. I always find if I do some journaling or write down some positive affirmations on like a Sunday afternoon, just, you know, when like the week's sort of ending and the new week's ahead, I always feel, I don't know, what's it called, the Sunday scaries. You start to feel a little bit like, oh, what's this week got ahead of me? So I do find like setting yourself these little kind of rituals and just writing down some really positive phrases really kind of set you up.
I love that, Sara, because it's mindset. Like we get to choose how we show up in the world, right? Yeah. So it's not like being on a Sunday like, oh, what's next week got in store for me? It's like, I decide what next week has got in store for me. I decide how I show up in the world. I decide. One thing I love to do on a Sunday is I write well, I always have a daily intention, but I also write an intention for the week, like an overarching kind of theme of what I'm going to be focusing on that week. And I think that just really sets you up to have that direction. Like we have so much energy inside of ourselves, so much potential. What are you going to do with it? Are you living with intention? You know, that's the question, really.
It is. It's amazing how just like writing down these like positive phrases can just totally like shift your mindset. Because like yesterday, I was actually sketching my wedding cake. Getting prepared to get married, and I came across, I'd obviously had a moment where it felt maybe a little bit disjointed. So I'd actually written in the past all these positive affirmations, and I came across them in my sketchbook, and I was like, oh my goodness. And it really just totally like shifted my mindset. So yeah, it's really, I think it's something really important to keep on top of, and definitely just set some time aside during the week to do those little things. And I think it totally makes a difference.
Yeah,
I love that, because you can like write what your intention is. Like my intention is to make more time for nourishing my body, right? And then you can write a positive affirmation or like a mantra with that, like that is like that you recite to yourself to remember your why, right? So it's like your why is your intention, and then the affirmation is that confirmation and that encouragement to why you're showing up to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
So you said you could go in so many different directions with your cacao ceremonies, but let's just in a brief nutshell, how would you describe those for our listeners?
Okay, I'll try. So you want to know what is a cacao ceremony?
Yeah.
Okay, so first I'll say I cannot wait to actually hold space for in real life cacao ceremony, because in real life cacao ceremony is obviously very different to holding it online. You know, you're in space with other people, you're within a circle, you can have a beautiful altar, and there's a different energy. But I am actually very amazed at I'm not that amazed, because I believe that energy can travel through time and space. But how much can come through these little screens, right? Like how much connection, authenticity can actually come through these. So in cacao ceremony, we work with ceremonial cacao. So ceremonial cacao is cacao in its most purest form. Okay, so a lot of people, quite a few years ago, there was a big buzz around raw cacao, raw cacao powders. But that actually isn't cacao in its fullest form. It had the cacao butter removed from it. Ceremonial cacao is the whole food. And it's also been prepared in a way where there is deep reverence for the plant. Okay, so the story of cacao has been lost widely, and most people just know as cacao is chocolate. But cacao originally was seen by the ancient Mayans as a ritualistic medicine, a food that they would work with in ceremony, in ritual, to make offerings back to the earth to express gratitude. They realized that cacao is very much something that was sacred, that it was this sacred medicine that had this kind of powerful spirit to it. So it's for the mind, the body, and the spirit in the way that it helps to elevate our mood. It actually releases more serotonin and dopamine in the brain, which is amazing. There's actually a huge list of what cacao can do. I'll keep it short. But it also it elevates our vitality, so we experience more joy and bliss, mental clarity. It contains theobromine, which is it's like a natural caffeine, so it gives us that boost of energy, but it doesn't give us that crash like coffee does. So a lot of people will use cacao in the mornings or have replaced their coffee with cacao. So this is a really powerful medicine tool to work with if you do other mindfulness practices such as yoga, meditation, breathwork, embodied movement, journaling, because what it does is it helps you move out of your mind into your body, into the emotional body, into the heart. Okay, so it's basically a heart tonic. It helps to expand your capacity to feel love, compassion, so that can be towards yourself or towards others. And it helps you, because you drink it in ritual. Rituals are this beautiful thing that just gives a deeper meaning to life. Any type of ritual does, right? Yeah. So in cacao ritual, if you come to a ceremony with me, the main focus is, of course, always gratitude. It's always got this overarching theme of gratitude and intention. So being grateful for everything you already have, for what you are about to receive, and what's your intention? Why are you drinking? What would you like to call in? Okay, so maybe you're calling in creativity, maybe you're calling in more self-love. I like to sit with cacao every morning and I set my intention for the day, right? And I let myself be guided by what comes through in the medicine. And then I'll do my other mindfulness practices. So if you come to a ceremony, we do the cacao ritual, but we'll do breathwork, meditation, we'll do journaling. We sometimes do a little bit of movement. and we'll share and we'll connect as a community. We'll share what came up for us during the ceremony. And you know, it can be all sorts of things, from people sharing their emotions to sharing maybe words, you know, of affirmation that have come up for them. So yeah, so that's the Cacao Ceremony, and I feel really privileged and honored to be holding space for people in ceremony so that they can go into these really deep places within themselves, you know, to start to de-armor their heart, you know, because this world it's tough.
Yeah.
And we tend, you know, everything that we experience in life, we just start, you know, trying to protect our hearts. And I think what the world needs is for everybody to be living with more open hearts, to be, you know, because when we live from a more open place, we're able to kind of give and receive with others, with the land, you know, we create this reciprocal relationship. So yeah,
Cool.
that's kind of the Cacao Ceremony, and that's just come from me. You know, I've been working with it for 4 years now, sharing ceremony for 2 years, from living in South America and from learning about the traditions and the rituals from the wisdom keepers in South America. So it's very important to me that we, as I can see Cacao Ceremony become more popular, that we still withhold that reverence and that respect, and we educate people as well about cacao, and you know, it's used with that deep reverence, you know.
Okay, perfect. Again, there's a lot to pick out of that one, but I think the gratitude one for me is something that I certainly try and do within my life, and I think it's important for everyone, you know, whatever you've got going on in your life. I think if you can, you know, what I tend to do is my practice, picking 3 things from the day that I'm grateful for. And some days it's really hard. You've got to really force yourself to think, you know, what has gone well today. But I think every time I do it, it makes you think about your day, and you're like, oh, actually, some good things really did happen today. So I think that would definitely be something I would put out there to listeners, is just trying to put some sort of gratitude into your day is really important.
Absolutely. I think that a lot of people I think a lot has come to light about the importance of gratitude practice.
Sarah, were you aware to say there?
Yeah, I think there was a quote I heard once. It was like, not every day is good, but there's always something good in every day.
Yeah.
I think it was something like that. So I think I used to do that as well. Like if I had a really bad day, I would always just spend some time and just think about like, right, okay, like what good things actually came out of today. And there is always something that you can find in a day, no matter how little it is. But I think it's so important just to grasp onto the small wins.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially during a pandemic.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit harder to find. But yeah.
Well, I've been very grateful for my dog during this pandemic. Honestly, like being at home all the time on my own, like I can't imagine. They're just like a little ball of like oxytocin, right? They just release those good feels.
Little fluff balls of joy. I've got 2 cats, so yeah, I don't like, they do my head in sometimes, but yeah, I think it would be a lot more boring and lonely without them here. So yeah, super grateful for my 2 cats.
Good. Well, I better mention my dog as well then. I'm grateful for Tia, our little dog. She's definitely the ruler of this house, that's for sure. A little diva, but yeah, great fun. When they give you that look and they just come in for a cuddle, it is amazing. So, well, we've dived straight into talking about quite a lot already, but let's bring it right back then, Melissa. You know, how did you get involved with this sort of space? You know, what's your background? Tell us a bit about your background, how you got involved in this.
So, I mean, where to start? So I grew up in the northeast of Scotland, in Aberdeenshire. I am half Latin American, but was born and grew up here. My mother is from the Dominican Republic. My dad is English. So my my upbringing, I grew up with a mom that was very spiritual. You know, so she had a yoga practice, meditation practice. She showed me the art of ritual. I would wake up on a Saturday morning hearing chanting, you know, so I had that around me growing up, you know, pick an angel card, look at this crystal, you know, like I had this around me. But so I was always interested, I was always open, but never really took it on as my own practice. I originally trained as a professional contemporary dancer. And part of my training, I started doing a weekly yoga practice. So I enjoyed it, but didn't really fully connect with the practice. I think at the time I didn't realize there was different styles of yoga. And I think, you know, with yoga as well, a lot of it can come down to the teacher as well, if you kind of resonate with them. So, so I first started yoga when I was 18 and kind of put it down for a while and then picked it back up in my early 20s. And it was only really when I kind of went through like a lot of despair in life that, oh my gosh, somebody's starting to make some really loud noises outside. Sorry about that.
Don't worry.
It's a chainsaw. Oh my gosh.
It's fine. This is what life is like now. It's just random things happen now.
The joys of the working from home life.
I'm so sorry about that. There's literally a chainsaw outside my window. Okay, so back to the story. So yeah, so I found myself going through. Can you still hear me over there?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay,
I can hear you fine.
So yeah, I found myself going through divorce. I found myself at that point in my life, I'd actually given up dancing. I kind of got a little bit lost in life thinking, if I'm getting married, I'm going to need to get a proper job and I'm going to need to buy a house, right? And I kind of got sucked into all those society's expectations. And that's kind of a story in itself. But when the marriage ended, I was working in the oil and gas industry. Like, I just was like, what am I doing? None of this stuff is me. So I voluntary redundancy during the time there was the big downturn. So I actually got paid to leave that job, which was, you know, quite nice, so that I could take time to actually find my way back to myself. So I didn't work for 2 years. I went to the yoga studio every day. I started meditating. I mean, I've been vegan for almost half my life. I think 18 years this year. So I spent a lot of time. I love cooking, so just being creative and nourishing my body and just healing my heart. And then I went to South America, and I was working at a yoga sanctuary in South America for some time, and then traveled around, just doing a lot of healing. And you know, the yoga itself was like, it saved my life. It was just an absolute anchor in what was a really painful, confusing time where I felt really lost. And it just helped me find my way back to myself, helped me realize who I truly was and what my gifts were, what I had to bring to the world. And I knew that I wanted to help people. I wanted to help people in the same way. So that was, you know, really why I wanted to become a yoga teacher. And then everything else is kind of just built around that.
Okay. Awesome.
That's really, really interesting and really inspiring as well. Like, I think, yeah, a lot of people who are listening will resonate with that, you know, because it does happen. Like, I think in your 20s, like, people can lose their way a little bit, and you kind of need to do something, like take a step back and sort of evaluate what it is you actually are passionate about and what it is you want to do with your life. So that's like really, really inspiring to hear that.
Thank you. I think fear is the problem. Fear just holds that heart hostage. You know, it stops us from doing what we want to do with our lives. It really, I think that's when we're not staying true to our hearts. That's where we can, make decisions that aren't in alignment with our truth. And we can find ourselves feeling unfulfilled. And that's why people can maybe have the house and have the family and have all the things, but they're not happy because they're not staying true to themselves. They're not honoring their hearts. They're not honoring their actual soul's purpose, why they're here. They're not sharing their gifts in the way that they're meant to be.
So I take it some of your practice then helps unlock that in others as well. Would that be right?
Absolutely. That really is my passion, is to help people find that way back home to themselves, to recognize their gifts, to see what their blocks are. So to see, and not to shy away from them. When we're, as humans, often we're like, oh, that's uncomfortable, that's scary, I'm just going to stay away from that, I'm going to ignore that, I'm not going to instead be like, that's interesting, why am I scared of that, why does that trigger me? But when we actually do that, or we choose to sit in that discomfort, then that's when we can start to, it doesn't hold the same power over us anymore, and we can start to unblock ourselves from those things that are holding us back, and then we can really start to shape our lives that do feel more aligned. We have so much like duality inside of us, the light, the dark, the masculine, the feminine. So yoga is really this kind of, I see yoga as this gateway of finding equipoise. So equipoise is this balance between the forces within us. So this state of wholeness and balance and flow starts to come in. So yoga allows us to come into this intimate relationship with ourselves. When we're rushing and forcing our way through life, we're not able to be present. We're not able to listen. We're not able to feel, and through those actions we fall out of relationship with ourselves and our surroundings. There's this disconnect that happens. I think people feel that a lot, like I feel disconnected, I don't understand why. So yoga can really help you to unpick that and start to realize why you do feel that disconnect, and then start to bring everything back into this state of wholeness. Instead of living in our heads, instead of our hearts, being disconnected from our bodies, just living from, here upwards. So, when we take the time to really feel into our bodies, that's when we can start to come back into relationship with ourselves. And, make decisions that are more directly in alignment with how we actually feel, like our gut instinct, like our bodies tell us so much. You feel it in your body, and then you're like, and then maybe you don't want to listen to that because it doesn't make logical sense, or it feels scary, right? But we're not taught this. We're not taught this as children to like lead with that. But like, so much is coming to light now about the gut is connected to our brain, like the connection between the two, and how much that our gut affects our brain and vice versa, right? Yeah. So, the practice of yoga asana, like the physical yoga and yoga philosophy, helps us to come home to ourselves. It helps us bridge, build that bridge between our minds and our bodies, so they can come into this dance and this partnership. So, they come into relationship with each other, and we can show up in the world as our most authentic and truest selves. And I think that, yoga teaches us so much about ourselves and so much about the world, and how to give and receive freely, how to be present with everything, how to be present, not just with yourself, but to be present with others, to truly listen, to be present with your children, and, to sit with what is uncomfortable. When we move through yoga practice, sometimes things are uncomfortable, or we face resilience, and it teaches us how to move through that. And then we can take what we learn on the mat into our everyday lives, and it's, you know, it guides us to notice that we are needed in this world, that we came here for a reason, and to be part of something actually much greater than ourselves, to be part of something as a collective, you know, that we are all one, to recognize our gifts, to remember our purpose, to be a student for life, devoted to learning and growing and expanding our capacity to hold ourselves, to hold others, you know, to be adaptable to change, which is, you know, I think a lot of people that had this practice before COVID really could tap into that, you know, that ability to be able to kind of change with things that are out with your control, to be humble, to experience life in its fullness.
Wow, amazing.
I can see it right now.
I'll take a breath.
I think after this, I'm going to go do a yoga practice and everything.
Yeah, so that's what yoga's been for me, and that's why, you know, that's why I like to show people, remind people.
And Sarah, you are keen yoga, you participate in yoga yourself, and it's something you enjoy a lot as well, isn't it, Sarah?
I do, and I haven't done it in a few days, and I'm actually kind of at that stage where I'm like dying to go and do it, because, you know, I don't know, it's weird. It's like my body needs it sometimes. So I think really after this, I'm being honest, I'm actually going to go and do one of your yoga practices, Melissa. I used to do, people who don't know too much about me, I actually work for Brewdog as well. So that's Melissa actually used to teach some yoga classes at Brewdog. So I used to go to your classes quite a lot there as well, in the Overworks Brewery. That was fun.
Loved it.
I know, obviously before COVID happened and things, but yeah, I really missed those weekly classes that we used to do there as well. They were really, really good.
Yeah, and it created, like, you know, people were coming into the space that worked in different departments. Is like you know, it's a big company, and then we had like our little mini community, our little like yoga fam. You know, and it built this relationship between the people within the company. And I think it was just a really nice way for people to kind of unpack the day, right?
Oh yeah, because it was on a Monday. So Mondays are like hard enough really when you're just going back to work and everything. So it was super nice to have that to look forward to, like right after the working day. And it was just lovely to have so many different people as well, just all coming together, like people that you might never really get the chance to speak to in such a big company. Yeah, but it was lovely. Really loved you. Very good.
Well, I'm sure
the intention actually of doing it on the Monday was so that staff would be in a good mindset for the week.
Yeah, it did. It totally kind of set you up for the rest of the week. It was really, really good. And there were so many people as well that most classes were fully booked. So it just goes to show that the amount of people that were really, really enjoying those classes as well. It was really good.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure we'll all be looking forward to things like that starting up again, actually be present with each other and do these sorts of things. So, well, let's just go into a wee bit there then on your business, Melissa. You know, you've touched on the various things that you do and what is important to you. So what services is it that you provide, you know, for your clients essentially? Along in these spaces, so, you know, yoga, meditation, these different things. What actually is it, the services you're providing to your customers?
So right now I've been taking a wee break from teaching yoga. Unfortunately, I've been having a lot of chronic pain issues over the past year and a half. So at the end of last summer, things got pretty bad. So I just felt like I wasn't able to show up in the way that I wanted to at least commit to regular classes, right? But which is why it gave me so much joy to do those classes for HBHM, right? To create that. I was like, oh, I've missed this so much. But I am actually thinking about doing a cacao and restorative yoga class next week, at the start of April, because I think that's, you know, it's something, it's not quite so energetic, because I used to teach Vinyasa, and it would be quite strong classes. So right now you can find me online offering Cacao Ceremony, Once a month, we have a community cacao ceremony. I also, on a full moon, have full moon cacao and ecstatic dance. So that's a really great way of just celebrating yourself and shaking off the month. But it's guided embodied movement. So letting yourself feel the emotions in your body and letting yourself feel it so it can be released. So it's a really powerful practice. Most people are terrified of doing it. So terrified, which is why you should do it. And what else am I offering right now? The new moon circle. And I also, I have the 2 online courses. So so that everything is based online right now.
It's interesting about the dance side that you mentioned. So one of our recent podcasts with Laura Leslie, who's a nutritionist, we spoke about how, just in the middle of your day, just have a little dance to yourself and just move. And it's just, however conscious you are about dancing, just doing it in your own space, no one can see you. It just sort of releases all this good energy from you. And it's just, we had a bit of a laugh about it, but in actual fact, it was serious. How just having that moment to yourself can really help you.
It is free medicine.
Yeah.
It's free medicine. It's like, it's just there. And like, I think that's one of the best ways to start your day, or to do it in the middle of the day. Yeah. It's just to, one of my friends, Samantha, has a class called Shake and Wake, where she gathers everyone together online and they just dance, and they just move however you want to move. And for me, like, I love sharing that because dance has always been my medicine. Movement's always been my medicine. And it just feels so good to move in a way where it's like, you're not focusing on the external. You're not trying to perform, or there's nobody there to watch. You're just moving how your body wants to move, how your body needs to move. And sometimes you're shifting things within you without even realizing it, right? Maybe we should all dance at the end of this.
Yeah. I'm not going to say it's going to be very good, but I'll give it a dash.
I love a dance. Like, I've always danced, I don't know, well, since I was young, like when you're super young, you do ballet and everything. I've done pole dancing, like,
oh, wow.
Fitness. And I've also done hip hop dancing. Like, I've kind of done a little bit of everything, really. But yeah, I totally agree. I love dancing so much. Like, I would love to go back to like my pole fitness classes. I did those for like 2 years or something. And I totally miss doing that. It is just so like freeing and everything. I just love it.
It's such a beautiful way to express yourself, right?
Yeah, definitely. And like, I dance around my house all the time. I just love it. I know, especially when I'm cooking. I think there's nothing better than having like your AirPods in, cooking, and just kind of having a wee dance to yourself.
Maybe we will finish this with a dance, but it won't be on the video version. It'll just be on the audio only version. So Melissa, obviously you've been working with HBHM. As Sara pointed out earlier, you can view a range of different tips and advice on our social channels from Melissa, but on to our CBD, because you are also a user of HBHM CBD oil as well. So can you tell us a bit about the benefits that you've found from using our oils?
Yeah, of course. So as I mentioned earlier, I've been, going through this journey of having this undiagnosed chronic pain. Thank you, COVID, for that. So I'm waiting to kind of get the investigations I need. And it's been such a huge benefit in managing my pain. So that's been the biggest thing for me, because I don't want to get addicted to opiates. So, I'm somebody that prefers that kind of natural alternative. So it's been really, really good for that. So I love to take CBD in the morning in my cacao or with my cacao before I do my meditation practices or my yoga practice. And I also love to take it before I go to sleep as well. I find it just improves my sleep, especially if I've got a kind of busy mind. I'll take the CBD, I'll do a meditation or a yoga nidra, which is like a deeper meditation, particular technique before going to sleep. And I find it just really helps me switch off from the day and prepare to go into this deep state of recovery. So it's been wonderful for that. My partner's been taking your CBD as well. He's got some back issues, and it's helped him tremendously. It's just something you do need to, I find personally, you need to commit to taking it regularly.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, it's scientifically proven that when you take it regularly, obviously it, you know, has this effect on your cannabinoid system. So that's one thing that I've noticed. If I don't take it regularly, I don't get the same benefits. So so for me, it's for pain and for sleep is the main two things.
Nice one.
Pain management.
I totally agree. I think I'd said in our first ever podcast episode that when I first started taking CBD a couple of years ago, there wasn't a lot of, like, there was research about it, but not too much out there. So I started doing kind of little experiments and not taking it for a month and seeing how I felt. And I noticed a huge difference in just like my mood, really, if I didn't take it continuously every single day. So I totally agree that it has to become part of your daily routine in order to get the best benefits from it.
Yeah, it's helped a lot with anxiety for me as well. Like, even though I have all these practices that I do, like the breathwork, meditation, whatever, like, you know, these minds are powerful and, you know, they can run away with themselves. And I can, you know, when I keep getting new symptoms and new levels of pain in my body and I don't know what's going on, it really starts to affect me. It starts to make me feel anxious, like, you know, we can think the worst sometimes, right? And I think the CBD's really, really helped me in easing any anxiety and mental chatter.
Yeah,
amazing.
I totally agree with that as well. That's the main reason I take the CBD, and I notice it helps tremendously with just my mood and anxiety levels. And, you know, I just find it makes a huge improvement if I take it every day, every morning. It just kind of calms the stress and makes me feel a little bit more focused and just a bit more like myself.
Yeah, I think it's making it a habit is important, and I think that's, you know, something we've spoken about quite often about in the past is, you know, as you say, if you dip in and out of it, you're not going to see the benefits of it. But if you're, you know, taking it regularly, then you are going to see the benefits. And likewise, you know, if CBD is the only thing you're doing to help in your life, and that's the sole thing, but everything else in your life's not going well, you know, the chances are it's maybe not going to help. But if you're taking your CBD plus you're doing other things like yoga, like meditation, and, you know, getting outside into fresh air, getting exercise, then all of these things combined with the CBD added can just be amazing for your lifestyle. So it's great to hear that you and your partner are getting benefit from it.
And that's the key thing. It's lifestyle. It's a holistic thing. And it, you know, I loved your other podcast episodes that I tuned into where you were saying about, you know, making it a habit and how to do that, you know, linking it with other habits you already have. That's how you create any new habit, really. They always recommend that's the kind of the way to do it. So, you know, like if you always have a cup of tea in the morning, you know, you put it where your tea is, so you know to add it to your tea, or, you know, you make it part of your sleep routine. You know, you link it to these other things you already do regularly, and it just becomes second nature.
Yeah, that's what I do. I've got a bottle that sits on my dressing table beside like my makeup bag, because I do my makeup every morning before I go to work, and, you know, it's just there, do my makeup, take my CBD, or alternatively I've got bottles sitting beside my coffee machine. So if I want to have it in my coffee, it's just there as well, and it's just automatic.
But just obviously, there's going to be listeners to this that don't have a regular yoga practice, don't do meditation or anything like that. So, what tips would you give those who are new to it or have never, or I've just never thought about practicing mindfulness? How would you get somebody involved? What tips would you give them?
I mean, I guess just starting really basic. Like, there's things that are available to you at any given moment, like becoming conscious of your breath, taking a moment to stop and to breathe, taking a big inhale and a sigh, like instantly you feel better for that, right? Mm-hmm. So becoming aware of your breath, notice if it's sitting quite high in your chest because you're anxious, so just taking time to breathe during the day. Journaling's such a powerful practice. It's so simple, but really it creates more self-awareness. It helps declutter your mind. You can and also can bring in a lot of creativity. A lot of interesting insights can come through that. So I'd say stopping and breathing, journaling, because these don't require you to need somebody else. They don't require you to have to pay for a class. They don't require you to have to show up at a particular time. You can do these two practices at any given moment. And was there 3 tips, or what was the question again?
No, just tips for the person who's never done any sort of mindfulness before. Mm-hmm. How they can start making it part of their daily routine. Yeah,
that would be, I mean, for me, the third final thing I will say, because I think this is one of the most powerful things you could ever do for yourself, for your well-being, for your life, for you to be able to create the life you want, is creating a morning routine. Okay. That gives you time, not like a morning routine of like doing things for other people and sorting things. Taking 1 hour, non-negotiable, the first hour of your day, do not look at your phone when you wake up. You get up and you spend that first hour doing something that helps support your well-being, and that will look different to everyone. So that may look like going out for a walk with the dog or for a run, and doing some stretching. That might be sitting with a cup of cacao, doing some journaling and breathing. It might mean doing some yoga. It might mean giving yourself a full body massage, it can mean anything, but anything that makes you feel good, that makes you feel grounded, that helps you connect with yourself. Really, it's just that first hour of the day is just, your mind's so clear and nothing's like, you've not interacted with anything else. Your energy is still inwards, and it's such a powerful time to really serve yourself. So that's the best advice I think I would give anybody that's wanting to become, start to live more mindfully and start to, focus more on self-care, is that it's dedicating the first hour to yourself and not letting, if you can't, like if that means having to get up earlier before the kids wake up, then you do that, I wake up at 5 a.m. every day. And then that kind of ties into the sleep thing. People are like, how do you get up at 5 a.m.? It's like, because I go to bed early enough so that I can do that, so that I can get sufficient sleep, so I can get up at 5 a.m. because I need more than 1 hour. I need like 2. Yeah. Like I need a few hours to do all my things because I like to go for a walk. I live in Stonehaven, it's beautiful here. So I go to the beach, I go up the cliffs, I maybe through the woods. And then I do my other things, cacao, breathwork, meditation, whatever. It might look a little bit different each day to the next, but that for me is non-negotiable. And it's having that devotion, that commitment to yourself and your well-being, because you know when you do that, you are able to show up in the way that you want to in the world. You're able to be more present for others. You're able to provide for those that you love in your life. You know, you're able to show up for your partner and your kids in a way that feels more balanced and grounded, you know, because you don't feel like you've got nothing, you know, you got to fill your own cup first.
Yeah. Awesome. Great tips.
I know. I love the morning thing, because like that's what I try and do every day. Like yesterday I got up, like you say, an hour earlier, and I went to the beach before work for like an hour walk. And I just felt so good, just felt so amazing. And then just had like such a great day, because I know I'd spent my first hour of my day just doing something for myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree there.
Well, that's the key thing. It completely, that 1 hour can completely change the tone of the whole day.
I know it does, because it's so easy just to kind of fall into a pattern of like waking up, reaching for your phone, going through whatever, like Instagram, your emails, and then before you know it, you've got to get up, brush your coffee, get to work. And yeah, it's not great. Like it isn't great to keep doing that. And but I totally agree. Get up, take an hour or however long you need for yourself, and just do something for you.
Yeah, I'm an advocate of that as well. I love my first thing in the morning. I'm similar to you, Melissa. Around about 5 o'clock, I get up and have around about an hour as well. And as you say, it looks different every day, but I'll you know, do a bit of journaling, do a bit of meditation, or I'll read a book, or, you know, I will always have a coffee. Just doing something in that first hour of my day, and it does always set me up. You know, the days that I get that in, I'm not going to say it happens every day. I'm pretty good at it, but you know, the days that it does happen, the whole day is just better. So definitely something that I would recommend to anyone is, if you know, get up early, make sure you're still getting a good sleep, which we'll come on to. But yeah, that's absolutely amazing. Thanks for that. So just before we start thinking about rounding up, I've got a few things that I do want to check with you. And you know, clearly you're somebody, Melissa, that likes to look at life positively. So, you know, what's some of the best advice you've been given or that you give to look at life more positively?
Everything is temporary, right? When you hear that, I would love to know what that kind of does to your nervous system. Because sometimes when people receive that, they're like, that doesn't sound positive, right?
I said that to someone the other day. That's so strange. Like literally like 2 days ago, I was having a chat with a friend and I was like, remember, everything is temporary, like good and bad.
Yeah.
That sometimes does help me. Like if you're having a bit of a rough time or whatever, you just have to remind yourself it's not forever and it will pass.
Yeah. So there's that aspect of it, absolutely. And then also remembering that everything is temporary pulls you into this place of gratitude, right? For being grateful for the moment, to be present in the moment. So to remember the gift of being alive and to experience everything, all the emotions, even the ones that, you know, don't feel so great. Like how amazing that we have that opportunity to experience all of that. So, you know, those were words that were so simple but so profound, and were given to me one day by one of my friends. So I was in the jungle in Costa Rica at the time, and he was just like, Melissa, everything is temporary. I remember in my nervous system, I was just like, oh, I don't like that. Cling, clinging onto everything. You know, clinging onto things actually causes suffering. And I think that's been a lot of the people that probably suffered the most. Well, I want to be careful about how I say this. I think that could be one thing that maybe has, you know, added to the suffering that we've all had through this pandemic, is the inability to kind of accept what has happened and to let go of the life that they had before, you know, right? And that kind of comes into this, you know, everything is temporary. it links in with this idea of like clinging on to things, you know, everything is always changing. Everything's changing in this given moment right now.
Yeah.
And when we cling on to things, you know, this is actually an idea in yogic philosophy as well. It's like the idea of clinging on to things does cause more suffering because it's inevitable to change, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But remembering that, yeah, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
tips.
I know. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So on to now how I like to sort of round up every podcast that we're on, and I like to hear our guests' top tips in 3 areas. So the top tip for improving performance in any aspect of your life that may be, improving recovery, and improving sleep. So Melissa, firstly, what's your biggest tip for improving performance in your life?
I think I've already said it, the morning routine.
Okay.
That's a golden ticket for me,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. I agree.
Establishing a morning routine that, yeah, dedicating that first 1 hour to yourself in the day.
Yeah. Nice one. Okay. And how about improving recovery?
Depends what you're recovering from.
Exactly.
But I guess the angle I'm going to go with this, like when you said that to me, the first thing that came up in my mind wasn't really so much in a physical way. You can always trust me to go a little deeper with things. Was like, how do you recover from the experiences in life, the little mini traumas that happen every single day, the little mini rejections that you get in life, right? The little heartbreaks, you know, all the griefs and the big ones, right? Are you taking the time to slow down, process that, and recover from that in whatever way that you need to, right? So for me, the tip would be to slow down and allow yourself that time to feel into whatever you've experienced, to journal about it, if that helps you move through the emotions, dance, you know, speak to someone, you know, give yourself time to recover. And even, I don't know, from like, even from a goal setting point of view as well, like if you are somebody that's really ambitious and you reach a goal, right? Great. And then you're moving on to the next thing, you're rushing on to the next thing without taking the time to actually like recover and integrate, like what have you learned through that experience, and like just kind of filling your resources up again before you rush on to the next thing. So just, I guess, slowing down and pausing to take notice between all these different transitions in life.
Yeah, perfect. And finally, your top tip for improving sleep.
CBD. Sleep, you know, just it's a simple one, and you know, I think everyone says this all the time, but just routine. Oh, I mean, one thing I really love is I sleep with thunderstorm sounds on.
Okay.
You know, this might not be for everyone. I've got an Alexa, and I ask her for thunderstorm sounds, and that just plays the whole night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that really improves my quality of sleep, you know, because I had like one of these machines I've been given as a friend, and it can put out like white noise or fan noises.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a similar kind of concept.
Yeah.
But you've got this constant kind of background noise. So it stops, just is really good for somebody that maybe struggles with waking up a lot during the night. Because I know there's a lot of people that have like no issue falling asleep, but staying asleep can be their issue. And that can be so frustrating, right? So I find having something like that, and the thunderstorm sounds is really nice because it's, you know, it's nature, it's something natural, right? Rather than a fan noise or white noise. It's but it's like that sound of the rain kind of creates that, and it just helps you have a undisturbed sleep.
Yeah, no, I get that. Great, really good tips. Thanks
Yeah,
very
really
much.
love that.
And yeah, so overall, just thanks so much, Melissa, for all your words of wisdom that you've given. I think there's so much for our listeners to take away from the things that you've given us today. So really appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on. Can you just let us know, or let the listeners know, where people can find you? So what's your website and Instagram handles and things like that?
Yes, so my website is thirdeyetribe.co.uk.
Yeah.
And my Instagram is thirdeyetribe_UK. So you'll find me there on those two places. I do have a Facebook, but I really do not check in there rarely ever. So that's not the place to try and get me.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the website, check it out. You can see what events are coming up, what I offer. You can see the online shop where I've got the new SACB ceremonial cacao. That's now available to purchase. And I also offer a subscription with it, so you can have it regularly just sent out to your house without you having to do anything else. And that also entitles you to free access to our monthly community cacao ceremony. So you can come along and sit in ceremony and meet other like-minded people. So yeah, I think that's the two places.
Thanks very much. Sarah, you got anything to add at the end?
I was just going to say that obviously we've worked with you on the little 7-week series of wellness videos. So if you head over to our channels as well, on our Instagram and YouTube, you'll find all our videos as well. Yoga classes, meditation, breathwork done by Melissa. So they'll be available for, indefinitely, for free for everyone. So please go check those out if you haven't done so already.
Yeah, so thanks very much, everyone. Thanks, Melissa, and we look forward to speaking to you next time, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for listening to the latest episode of the HBHM podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Just a reminder that you can get 15% off at checkout on hbhm.com by putting in the code HBHMPod. Please share the latest podcast on socials. At Instagram, we are at HBHM Official, and we look forward to speaking to you next time.